We've all wondered about this at some point, haven't we? You're watching astronauts floating around the International Space Station, looking all professional and heroic, and then it hits you. Wait, how do they actually go to the bathroom up there? Well, buckle up because the answer is way more complicated and hilarious than you might think. Let's start with the obvious problem. On Earth, gravity does most of the work for us. Everything falls down, which makes bathroom visits pretty straightforward. But in space, there's no up or down, there's no gravity pulling anything in any direction. This means that literally everything floats, and I mean everything. Your hair, your food, your pen, and yes, absolutely everything that comes out of your body. Now imagine trying to use a regular toilet in zero gravity. You'd push, and instead of anything going where it's supposed to go, you'd just launch yourself backward across the room while your business floats around like some kind of nightmare snow globe. Not exactly the dignified space exploration experience. NASA was going for dots, so how do astronauts actually handle this most human of needs? The answer involves suction, lots of suction, and some pretty ingenious engineering that honestly deserves more credit than it gets. The current toilet system on the International Space Station is called the Waste and Hygiene Compartment, or WHC, for short, but let's be real, astronauts just call it the space toilet because even rocket scientists appreciate simple terminology. Here's how it works, and trust me, it's like nothing you've ever experienced. First, astronauts have to strap themselves down to the toilet seat using a harness system. Yes, you heard that right. They literally have to tie themselves to the toilet. Because without gravity, the moment you try to, well, do your business. Newton's third law kicks in and you'd go flying across the module, but wait, it gets better. The toilet uses a powerful suction system that creates airflow to pull waste away from the body. Think of it like a reverse vacuum cleaner that's specifically designed for human waste. The suction is so strong that it can actually be uncomfortable. If you're not positioned correctly, for liquid waste, there's a special funnel attached to a hose with, you guessed it, more suction. Astronauts have to get really close to this funnel, and the suction pulls everything away. The collected liquid waste actually gets recycled into drinking water through an incredibly sophisticated filtration system. Yes, astronauts literally drink recycled urine, and they joke that today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. For solid waste, things get even more interesting. The toilet bowl is only about 4 inches in diameter, much smaller than what were used on Earth. Astronauts have to aim very carefully, and there are even foot restraints and handholds to help them maintain the proper position. The whole process requires a level of precision that NASA actually trains astronauts for. That's right, there are literal bathroom training sessions at NASA. Once solid waste is deposited, it gets sucked down into a container where it's mixed with chemicals to kill bacteria and control odors. These containers are then sealed and stored until they can be disposed of on a returning cargo spacecraft, which burns up during re-entry. So, in a very real sense, astronaut poop becomes shooting stars, but here's where the story gets really wild. The current system is actually luxurious compared to what early astronauts had to deal with. During the Apollo missions, astronauts used what were essentially plastic bags taped to their butts. The process was so complicated and unreliable that it often took 45 minutes to complete, and let's just say there were frequently mishaps that left waste floating around the spacecraft. One Apollo mission actually had to be delayed because waste had gotten loose and was floating around the command module. Imagine being strapped into a tiny spacecraft for days with floating fecal matter bumping into you. These guys literally had nerves of steel. The Gemini missions were even worse. Those astronauts had to use external collection bags that were even less reliable. There are documented cases of waste escaping and getting stuck to the walls of the spacecraft. Mission Control even had specific procedures for dealing with floating waste emergencies. Female astronauts face additional challenges. The space toilet was originally designed for male anatomy, and it wasn't until relatively recently that NASA developed better systems for female astronauts. The current toilet has different attachment options and positioning aids to accommodate anatomical differences, but here's something that might surprise you. Going to the bathroom in space actually takes a lot longer than on Earth between getting positioned correctly, using all the straps and restraints, operating the suction systems, and cleaning up afterward. The whole process can take 30 to 45 minutes. That's a significant chunk of time when you're on a tight schedule conducting scientific experiments. And speaking of cleaning up, toilet paper in space is pretty much the same as on Earth, except it has to be specially treated to prevent it from floating away or creating static electricity. Every piece has to be carefully disposed of in the waste container because even a small piece of floating toilet paper could interfere with equipment or get inhaled. The International Space Station actually has toilet facilities now because with 7 astronauts on board, bathroom scheduling becomes a real issue. Imagine having to coordinate bathroom breaks with 6 other people in a space the size of a large house, where everything takes 3 times as long as usual. Here's another fun fact: burping in space is actually dangerous. On Earth, gravity separates gas from liquid in your stomach, so when you burp, only gas comes up. In space, without gravity doing that separation, burping can result in what astronauts politely call a wet burp, which is exactly as unpleasant as it sounds. The psychological aspect is fascinating too. Many astronauts report that bathroom privacy becomes incredibly important when you're confined in a small space with the same people for months. The current toilet compartment on the ISS is about the size of a phone booth, and it's one of the few places where astronauts can be completely alone. NASA has spent millions of dollars and countless engineering hours perfecting space bathroom technology. There are entire teams of engineers whose job it is to think about astronaut bathroom needs. They test everything in zero-gravity simulation chambers, and yes, they have to test it with actual human waste. The space agency even has official procedures for bathroom emergencies. If the toilet breaks down, astronauts have backup systems, including, and this is real, adult diapers for emergencies. During spacewalks, astronauts actually wear what NASA calls maximum absorption garments, which are basically sophisticated diapers because you can't exactly pop back inside for a bathroom break when you're floating outside the space station. But here's what's really amazing about all this. Despite all these challenges and complications, astronauts adapt remarkably quickly. Most report that after a few days, using the space toilet becomes routine, even though it's completely unlike anything they've ever done on Earth. The future of space bathrooms is actually pretty exciting. NASA is developing new systems for long-duration missions to Mars, where astronauts might be away from Earth for 2 or 3 years. These systems will need to be even more efficient at recycling waste and will probably be fully automated. Some proposed designs include toilets that can analyze waste for health monitoring, turning bathroom breaks into medical checkups. Others involve completely closed-loop systems where absolutely everything gets recycled. Waste becomes fertilizer for growing food, and nothing is wasted. So the next time you're sitting on your comfortable Earth toilet, take a moment to appreciate gravity, and remember that somewhere above your head, incredibly brave and dedicated people are strapping themselves to high-tech suction toilets, all in the name of advancing human knowledge and exploration. Going to the bathroom in space isn't glamorous, but it's a perfect example of how human ingenuity can solve even the most basic problems in the most extreme environments. It's proof that no challenge is too weird or too personal for engineers to tackle when the future of space exploration is at stake. If this cosmic bathroom tour entertained you as much as it did me, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Astro for more fascinating space content that covers everything from the magnificent to the mundane. Share this video with someone who needs to know the truth about space toilets. What surprised you most about astronaut bathroom procedures? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next stellar adventure.